Happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to Week 11. Just popping in this morning for any last-minute thoughts that any of the members may need. Again, for anybody who maybe missed the stream yesterday or maybe have missed a couple of my updates over the past couple of weeks. Sunday morning streams moving forward are available to everybody, so I'll give some overarching thoughts as far as the latest injury updates that we have, so I can give you some tidbits, some nuggets and notes to work with in the final prep leading up to Week 11. But as far as the chat, it is limited to members. That is, one of the perks of being a member of the channel is Sunday morning streams will be available. The chats will be available to members. The stream itself will be available to anybody to view. What's going on, E111? So if any of the members have any last minute thoughts, and of course you can join as a member today and still have access to this stream in addition to all of the Sunday morning streams from now until week 17. Just 99 cents a month will get you access to these chats. They will get you access to the Sunday morning chats. They will get you priority responses to questions and comments in all streams, if anybody is interested in that. So let's go ahead and just kick things off with the latest that we have as far as injury updates. Let's see. Going back to yesterday, CeeDee Lamb's injury appears to be a bit of was flagged as something to monitor. Apparently, it's not of high concern. He's expected to play Monday night against the Houston Texans. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is the type of player that you hold out on and you wait for. If by any chance he cannot go, we will live with the desperation play that we would have to suit up in CeeDee's absence. So you're probably looking at Jalen Tolbert, or on the other side for Houston, a John Mechie or a Xavier Hutchinson. But CeeDee is one that is somebody that you will hold out for, and it sounds like he's expected to play. Jaylen Warren expected to play this week, barring a setback. He missed practice on Thursday. After logging to full practice on Wednesday, he missed practice Thursday and then returned to practice on Friday in a limited fashion. So he's expected to go. I was liking Warren as a sneaky potential flex option prior to the injury. Now that he's on the injury report, I have no choice. I have more concerns about him. So Warren is now off the flex radar for me. I liked him in this spot. I did. But with the injury, it wouldn't surprise me to see Najee, dominate opportunities for another week, and maybe Cordero Patterson. Is Patterson back for them? I feel like he is. He missed a little bit of time, but I think he's back for Pittsburgh. So I think he annoyingly mixes in a little bit more today. And we have to potentially kick the can down the road with Jaylen Warren to week 12. So what was shaping up to be an intriguing, sneaky flex play in Jaylen Warren, now I'm moving off of that. He's tough to trust being on the injury report, even though he's expected to play. Devontae Adams expected to play today, so he's in your starting lineup. George Kittle, this is a noteworthy one. George Kittle is unlikely to play in Week 11, according to Adam Schefter. That came down last night. Kittle missed practice on Wednesday. And then practiced in a limited fashion on Thursday and Friday. That is the typical trend that you see for a veteran player tracking toward playing that week. But we're getting, it doesn't appear to be the case for George Kittle. He is expected to sit today. He is not expected to play for the San Francisco 49ers. So if you have George Kittle, make alternative plans. Whoever's out there, whoever's available. A Dawson Knox, a Taysom Hill. Will Dissly's a trendy tight end. Will Dissly's a trendy tight end stream this week. I'm not super bullish on him today. I'm worried about. It's a great matchup, but I don't know that I want to necessarily chase 5 catches for 30 yards. Somebody pointed out yesterday that he received a high percentage of Justin Herbert's throws last week. Good nugget, good tidbit. But with all of their receivers healthy, plus Hayden Hurst being off the injury report, I just don't know that I want to chase that randomness. However, if he's the best option, if Knox is not available, if Taysom Hill is not available, then Dissly is perfectly fine if you were previously relying on George Kittle. We will get more updates. We will get more injury updates in about 10 minutes. They typically come around 11:30 Eastern time ahead of the 1 p.m. slate, 1 p.m. Eastern time slate. So within the next 10 minutes or so, we'll start to get inactives rolling in for the early games. That's all we have for now. And Tyler Boyd is expected to play today for the Tennessee Titans for whatever that's worth. Okay, got a couple of questions here so we can get into what's going on, MVM? Good to see it. Let's see. E111. Should you trade Montgomery to get Kupp? You have Kyron, you have Brian Robinson, you have Tyrone Tracy. You have a good collection of running backs, so that's good. You have AJ, you have Neighbors, you have Myers. This is a good group. This is a good squad. I mean, just keep in mind with Cooper Kupp that when both Kupp and Puka are healthy, it's Puka who is leading as far as get the first read target share. That's in Kupp's favor, not as much in, that's in Puka's favor, not as much in Kupp's favor. Kupp is still an incredibly strong wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1 rest of season. So it's perfectly fine. Singletary is no longer usable for you, but you have Tracy, so maybe it's a little bit more worth it for you to hang on to Singletary. Your wide receivers are good. Your running backs are solid, but you might lose Hunt within the coming weeks, and now we're down to Kyron, Robinson, and Tracy if you get rid of Montgomery. Full PPR obviously gives a little bit of a boost to the wide receiver. I like Montgomery a lot. That's my holdup here. I like Montgomery a lot. Just in that offense, in that awesome Lions offense, behind that awesome Lions offensive line. He's got a beautiful matchup today. The playoff schedule for David Montgomery, week 15 at home against Buffalo, great matchup. Week 16 on the road against Chicago, less than ideal, but you wouldn't be sitting him. Meanwhile, week 17 on the road against San Francisco. By the numbers, not a bad matchup. And the Lions are a good enough offense to neutralize matchups that you maybe that you otherwise might be more leery of. So I'm not necessarily worried about Montgomery there. Kupp, on the other hand, I feel like does not have a great playoff schedule. Yeah. Week 15 on the road against San Francisco. That's a bad matchup for wide receivers. Week 16 on the road against the Jets. That's a bad matchup for opposing wide receivers. Week 17 against Arizona is really good, but you got to get there first. And he's got 2 bad matchups along the way to get there. I ultimately think I would stay put. I think I would just keep Montgomery. And I know that, in full PPR, a guy like Cooper Kupp is a super enticing asset to acquire. But Montgomery has been a stud this year. Him and Gibbs actually have the same number of fantasy points scored this year, I believe. I think that was something I saw on Twitter yesterday, or X. They have the same number of points scored. So they're both getting it done. They're both delivering. They're in good. They have a good enough schedule rest of season, the Lions do. And you don't worry about bad matchups when you're in that efficient and prolific of an offense as the Lions. I think I would just keep Montgomery. Because it's not like you don't have a glaring need at wide receiver. You're pretty stout at both running back and wide receiver. I think I would just keep what you have. Mm-hmm. And you said to yourself, you want to stay put. So don't do them. Yeah. So don't make a move that you necessarily aren't in love with. You know what I mean? I would just keep what you have. Herbert or Wilson? Now the chat is now the highlighted comments are smaller. Yesterday they were massive. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. Herbert or Wilson? I like Herbert's matchup. I like Russ's matchup as well, but it is a division game, so there's a little bit more downside baked into that situation. I think I would go Herbert MVM. It's a beautiful matchup against Cincinnati. I mean, it's a great matchup for Wilson as well, to be completely honest. Herbert against Cincinnati. He's playing well recently. The fantasy points that Herbert has the past 3 weeks are all strong plays. I think I would lean Herbert. I like Russ today. I do. I think he's in a really good spot. Baltimore's secondary is incredibly soft. You can beat them. You can beat them through the air. But it is a division game. And it's not uncommon to see Steelers-Ravens turn into a slugfest whenever those two teams link up, meet up. Often is a low-scoring affair. This is not the same type of Ravens shutdown secondary that they usually have. So Russ has a chance to come through there. But I think that the history of this matchup leads me to believe that while I do like Russ in this spot, if I have a viable alternative, I would probably just go to that. And Herbert is more than viable. He's playing well. The matchup is beautiful against Cincinnati. You would expect a lot of points to be scored in that game because the Bengals offense is good and the Bengals defense is bad. So that should mean that Herbert has to keep pace, and he shouldn't have a hard time doing so because the Bengals are quite a beatable matchup. Let's see. Packers or Jets. Both are in good spots today. Packers are on the road against the Bears, so that's a division game. Could be a little trickier for them. But the Bears offense has been horrendous recently, so there's no reason not to chase them. The Jets get the Colts at home. Anthony Richardson re-enters the starting lineup for Indianapolis. No idea what that's going to look like. No idea what that offense is going to look like with Richardson's return to the lineup. The Colts also have a pretty good run game, and the Jets have a bad run defense. Meanwhile, Green Bay has a solid defense. They're top 10 against the run, and they're top half of the league against the pass. Whereas the Jets have a glaring weakness in their defense, and it's in their run defense. Their pass defense is excellent. Run defense, not so much. I'll say the Packers. Yeah, they are on the road. The Jets are at home, so the home cooking is always something that I like to seek out if I can. But the Packers are a solid defense. They're a really good unit, and they're in a favorable matchup today. The Bears are a mess, and much has been made this week about the Bears offense and how bad they look. They fired Shane Waldron. We'll see what the new offensive coordinator can do. The offensive line still isn't good. Caleb isn't playing well. Maybe they turn this around. Maybe scrutiny and they're bad. They're the doubters and all that stuff. Maybe this is their time where they break out. I don't know that I'm necessarily banking on that though. I'll take Green Bay. And then Knox or Ferguson, for me, this is straightforward. I'm going Dawson Knox. I like Knox a lot as a streamer this week. Dalton Kincaid is out. Keon Coleman is out. Amari Cooper is questionable with that wrist injury that has held him out for the past 2 weeks. So, is he going to be limited? You know, meanwhile, Ferguson is catching passes from Cooper Rush in a bad matchup. I would go Knox. I would go Knox. I don't trust the Cowboys offense anymore. I barely trust CeeDee Lamb, but he's too good to leave out of lineups. Jake Ferguson, I can pivot off of. Rico Dowdle as a starting running back is something where it's like, all right, it might be like pulling teeth, but hopefully he can come through with a little bit of volume. But this is just a bad offense now with Dak Prescott gone for the season. I don't trust the Cowboys anymore. I'll take any alternate option, especially over somebody like Ferguson, who is a good football player, but now is at the mercy of bad quarterback play for the rest of the year. Ferguson can be dropped, to be completely honest. Ferguson is a drop. Unless you have no alternate options this week and you have maybe Trey McBride or Cade Otton on bye, and then you have to play Ferguson, but then after this week, he's a drop. Like, Jake Ferguson can probably comfortably be dropped. And we can move forward without him rest of season. This is a difficult offense to trust moving forward. I would go Knox. And we will start getting inactives rolling in here shortly. See if we have any new updates. Tyler Boyd is active. Devontae Adams is active. We'll start getting a few more. Do you drop Taysom Hill for Jalen Wright to handcuff Achane? If you have Kelsey, then yeah, that's fine. You don't have a need for Taysom Hill. I like Taysom Hill as a stream today, but if you have Travis freaking Kelsey, I mean, you're not taking him out of your lineup for any other tight end. So yes, that's fine. That's fine. Start to shore up if you're in a good spot to make the playoffs, just start shoring up your roster. Start shoring up your situation. Like get your roster square and set for the fantasy playoffs. So that's fine. You have Travis Kelsey. You're not taking him out of your starting tight end spot for anybody. Yeah, I would drop Taysom Hill for Wright. That's totally fine. What's going on, Armando? Good to see you. Let's see. Full PPR. Okay, we're dart throwing. Got it. Pierce, MVS, Juju, Butte, or Wicks. Pierce gets the Jets with Anthony Richardson back in the lineup. And also a healthy Michael Pittman and a healthy Josh Downs. MVS against Cleveland, coming off of his monster game last week. I don't know that I necessarily want to chase those points. Juju in an intriguing spot against Buffalo, where a lot of points you expect to be scored. Butte against the Rams, that's a good matchup. I don't think I trust Marquez Valdez-Scantling, although he will have a wide open opportunity today. And then Wicks, Wicks just hasn't done a whole heck of a lot in recent weeks, and it's not a great matchup by the numbers on the road against Chicago. Is my answer Kayshon Butte? I mean, he's a full-time player for them now, just like that. He's seen 80% of the snaps since week 6. And it's a good matchup at home against the Rams. I think I go Butte. Armando. I think I go Kayshon. I guess my other option here, or my other preference here, is MVS, just from a strictly opportunity perspective. I just don't know if I want to chase 2 touchdowns that he had last week against Cleveland. I don't know that I necessarily want to chase that. But Kayshawn he has become a full-time player for the Patriots offense, and he's got a great matchup today against the Rams. Yeah, I'll take Butte. I'll take Butte from that group. And then we're starting 2 between Dowdle, Pollard, Etienne. Dowdle, difficult to trust moving forward in general with the Cowboys down Dak Prescott for the rest of the year, but Dowdle is their starting running back, so he has a chance to come through with volume. Pollard, the starting running back for the Titans, in a bad matchup against the Vikings, but he continues to dominate opportunities even with a healthy Tajay Spears. And then Etienne with no Tank Bigsby against the Detroit Lions, but Mac Jones at quarterback. So we got 2 guys here playing with backup quarterbacks. And the other one is in a horrendous matchup in Pollard. Is that a home game for Tennessee? I think it is. Just double checking. It is a home game for Tennessee. So that makes, that's a little better, I guess. That's a little more favorable. I think I would start Pollard because at least, Will Levis, I guess, is the, when we're talking about, at least he has his starting quarterback, when it's Will Levis, it's like, really? Does that inspire that much confidence? I guess I would start Pollard. And I guess I would start. I guess Etienne is the better player between Etienne and Dowdle. I guess I'll play Pollard and Etienne. It's close. None of these guys are you're hoping for, in half PPR, you're hoping for anywhere from 8 to 10 points, and you'll live with it from honestly all of these guys. Etienne's in a brutal matchup against the Lions, but they should throw him the ball. Dowdle's in a bad matchup against Houston. I guess they should throw him the ball. I just don't know how much I trust Cooper Rush or this Cowboys offense in general. Pollard at least has his starting quarterback, and it's not a great matchup. But he is at home, and he continues to dominate the work. I guess I'll say Pollard and Etienne. Pollard and Etienne, but it's tough to trust either or any of these options. No new injury updates or anybody who no new updates as far as who's in and who's out. Let's see if we've got anybody. Yeah, Jaylen Warren is officially active. Jaylen Warren is active. Devontae Adams is active. Tyler Boyd is active. Okay, not too many noteworthy injury updates as of yet. Okay. Just keeping tabs. You have okay. So yeah, use Ferguson for this week, and then you can comfortably drop him. Ideally, you can comfortably drop him next week when assuming Kittle is back. But we no longer need to hold. We no longer need to hold Jake Ferguson unless it's out of desperation. And if if Kittle is out, we were expecting him to play. Now he's out. So yeah, it's Ferguson is a viable replacement as a 1 week fill-in. We're starting 2 here between Cook, ETN, Higgins, and McConkey. I would play Higgins in a, the matchup is a little less than ideal by the numbers, but the Bengals offense is firing on all cylinders right now. Their defense is another story, but their offense is playing great. So I trust Higgins. And then James Cook in a the matchup against the Chiefs isn't the best on paper, but we're expecting a lot of points to be scored in that game. So, I want to target all the skill position players in Chiefs Bills and find a way to get them into my lineup. Maybe with the exception of like Amari Cooper, because I just don't know how much we can trust him. Missed the past couple of weeks with a wrist injury and is still on the injury report. So I don't know that we can necessarily trust him, but anybody else I want to get into my lineup. I want to get James Cook into my lineup. I want to get Khalil Shakir into my lineup. I want to get Dawson Knox into my lineup for Buffalo. For Kansas City, obviously Kelsey and Kareem Hunt are in your lineup, but that makes like guys like Juju and Xavier Worthy a little bit more viable as well. And Hopkins is in your lineup. So I would put Cook in and I would put Higgins in. I think that's what I would do. If it's full PPR, then Ladd McConkey has a little bit more of an argument over Cook. But if it's half PPR, I think I would play the running back. If it's Higgins for sure, Cook, if it's half PPR, I'm okay if you want to pivot to McConkey in a spectacular matchup if it's full PPR. So that one's based on your scoring. That one's based on your scoring. And there's the update. Jaylen Warren officially active. I just don't know if I trust him. I wanted to. I really wanted to. But being on the injury report with the back injury, I just don't know how much I trust him. Will he be involved, or will Cordero Patterson get in there over him? So hopefully nobody's dealing with a desperate situation where you need to rely on Jaylen Warren. But I did consider him a sneaky flex option this week before he picked up this back injury. So we'll see there. We're continuing to get updates, injury updates rolling in. Jay Alexander in for the Packers. So they're a good stream. The Packers defense remains a really strong stream option today with Alexander playing for them. That's good. Okay. All right. There's not a ton of new injury updates. If any other members need anything, just let me know. We obviously still have a little bit of time here. Again, for anybody just joining or popping in, and if maybe you missed my updates over the past couple of weeks or recently in general, Sunday morning streams will be available for anybody to view, but the chat will be limited to members. That is one of the perks of being a member of the channel. 99 cents a month gets you access to the Sunday morning streams for the rest of the season. You can cancel at any time. And for all other streams in general, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, it'll get you priority responses to any questions or comments that you may have. All right, let's take a look at the game-by-game breakdown and for now, and then we can go from there. Let's see. So the Rams and the Patriots, Kyron Puka Cup. Who are the flex plays? Yeah. In Patriots Rams, the sneaky plays here are the Patriots wide receivers. It's a great matchup against the Rams. Drake May is playing well. Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte are both on the flex radar. Raiders, Dolphins on the flex radar, I guess, is maybe Alexander Mattison. He hasn't been playing very well recently, but it is a good matchup by the numbers. They changed offensive coordinators in Vegas, so I don't know how much I trust this situation. Amir Abdullah is also running a lot of routes. However, Madison is interesting. The Raiders are 7.5-point dogs in Miami, so you would figure they're going to throw the ball a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to be Madison or Abdullah today, but puts him on the radar. Bears, Packers. The only flex play I have here is like Romeo Doubs, who is solid and has been pretty good recently, but I'm not playing any. I don't even know if I want to play DJ Moore. I'm not playing Keenan Allen or Roma Dunze in any situation. I don't think I'm playing Christian Watson or Dontavian Wicks in any situation. They're cutting into each other's work. Basically, for Watson or Wicks to be viable, one of them needs to be out, and then the other one is a little bit more intriguing from a flex perspective. Flex plays for Jags, Lions, or Jamison Williams with Sam Laporta not playing. And Travis Etienne is on the flex radar with no Tank Bigsby, but this is a brutal matchup. And the Jags are not expected to score a lot of points today. Knox or Engram. This is it scares me. It admittedly makes me pretty nervous because the matchup isn't good and the situation is bad. But I do think I lean Evan Engram here. He got 8 targets from Mac Jones last week. He turned it into 6 catches. Jacksonville will be throwing in this game. They are underdogs. The Lions are a much better team. You would expect that they have a lead. Therefore, that the Jags, their offensive output is heavily skewed toward throwing the football. And Engram is the clear-cut number one target in this offense with Mac Jones. It's not Brian Thomas, unfortunately, with Mac Jones in there. It's Evan Engram. He's taken his short and intermediate check down options, and that makes Engram more viable, even in a bad matchup, but he is at home. I think I lean Engram. He is the team's regular starter, and he's a better player than Dawson Knox. I like Dawson Knox a lot today as a stream, but if I have somebody like Engram, I'll probably rock with him for one more week, see what happens after today and going into the bye week, and then maybe I look to pivot off of Engram because of the Jags' bad situation and their lost season as a whole. So I don't mind the idea of ultimately pivoting off of Engram eventually, but for today, I think I would fire him up. Volume is heavily in his favor. I like Knox a lot as a stream, but I do think I would go Engram. Yeah, he's getting over 30% of the first read targets since Christian Kirk went down. You figure that should continue today. Saints, Browns, you're starting Kamara, you're starting Njoku, you're starting Chubb, you're starting Taysom Hill. I would say you're starting Cedric Tillman as well. Both Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore are on the flex radar, and Jameis Winston is absolutely viable in deep one-quarterback leagues and an obvious start in superflex formats. Revenge game against New Orleans. And the second, their team is in shambles in general. Vikings, Titans. I do think Tajay Spears is on the flex radar today. Pollard is an upper echelon flex, but obviously the matchup makes him a little more difficult to trust. Spears a little bit more on the deeper league stash radar. It's a bad matchup by the numbers, but that should mean that they throw the football, and I would think that favors Spears a little bit more than Pollard, just based on the fact that Spears is running more routes since returning. Not a bad spot. Steelers, Ravens. I'm telling you, man, I wanted to advocate for Jaylen Warren. I wanted to advocate for Jaylen Warren as a sneaky flex play, but him having previously been on the injury report makes me nervous. See if there's any recent updates here. Nah, nothing. Okay, we're all square. Let me just keep running through the flex plays that I'm intrigued in, because at this point you already know who your obvious starts are regardless. Sanders or Dicker. I actually just dropped Sanders. Jake Moody was available in one of my leagues. He hadn't been picked up yet to this point, which is surprising because there's multiple 49ers fans in the league that I play in. But the one thing I like Sanders, I wanted to like Sanders today in Miami against the Raiders, but we're expecting 13 to 15 mile per hour winds in Miami, and so that makes me a little more leery and nervous about him. So I pivoted off of him. Dicker in LA, no weather concerns, and in a great matchup against Cincinnati, I would probably go Dicker. I wanted to play Sanders. But 13, 15 mile per hour winds, that's enough for me to say, all right, let me find a different alternative. Let me find somebody else other than Sanders to pivot to. So Dicker, I'll say Dicker. Kicking in LA, no weather concerns. Great matchup against Cincinnati. Expect a lot of points to be scored. I'll take Dicker. I'll take Dicker. Jets, Colts. You know you're starting Taylor, Wilson, Adams, Brees Hall. Josh Downs is on the flex radar. He would be a start if it was Joe Flacco, but with Anthony Richardson in there, he's more of a flex play. But he is the team's wide receiver 1 for whatever that's worth. And Michael Pittman, not only can he be left on the bench, it's possible that you could probably just drop him outright at this point. Super disappointing season for him. Smith and Jigba, Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, all on the flex radar today. Smith and Jigba, even though DK Metcalf is back, JSN runs ahead of Tyler Lockett as far as routes on the year when all three are healthy. And they're going to be throwing the football today. So Smith and Jigba viable. Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings both now on the flex radar with George Kittle unlikely to play for San Francisco. So if you're looking for some wide receiver help and one of those depth wide receivers for the 49ers is available, you can fire them up as flex options. Let me see if there's anything else here. Bills, Chiefs, I would get everybody into your lineup. Hunt, Cook, Shakir, Hopkins, Knox. Maybe not Curtis Samuel, not Amari Cooper. Can't advocate for Amari Cooper. Leave him on the bench. Even if he is active today, don't trust him. Chargers, Bengals. I like McConkey and Quentin Johnston tonight. You can fire both of them up with confidence. Herbert can be fired up in one quarterback leagues. Disley, if you're desperate for a streamer. Again, one final time. I'm not super bullish on Will Disley today just because he had 6 targets last week. And not into Gesicki as well. I'm not into the tight ends in this game. Between the Bengals and the Chargers. The matchup is great, and we expect a lot of points to be scored, but LA is relatively healthy on offense, and Cincinnati is getting T. Higgins back, so they're a little bit more healthy than they previously were. So Gesicki is more, he's more difficult to trust. Okay. Those are the guys that are on the flex radar this week. And then let's see. E111. I think this is the last question I have here. Quentin Johnston or Ford? Ford, not Hunt. In standard scoring. So that's a little less love to the wide receiver. The thing with, I just don't trust Jerome Ford. I know the matchup is great, but with Nick Chubb back, he's difficult to trust. Quentin Johnston is a full-time player, on the other hand, for the Chargers. And in a great matchup against Cincinnati, I would expect that he gets involved, and he's always a threat now. He's officially now a regular threat to catch a bomb, to make a big play. I'll say Quentin Johnston. Against the Bengals, very beatable secondary. I think they're bottom. They're bottom. They're somewhere bottom 8 in the NFL. I feel like they're worse than that. It's not a good defense in Cincinnati. Not a good secondary. I'll take Quentin Johnston. I'll take Quentin Johnston. Okay. We are at the end of the chat, coming up on noon East with about an hour to go. If anybody needs anything else in these last couple of minutes, just let me know. I will be back. I will be back on Tuesday for Week 12 waiver wire help. And then just as an FYI, I will share a PSA in the community section of the channel. But live streams will be a little sporadic this coming week. It's possible I'm not available. I have some prior engagements where I might be a little bit more hit or miss this coming week as far as start sit help. So in the event that I'm not able to stream, I encourage you guys to join my Discord if you're not already in there. I should be able to help out a little bit throughout the week next week. The second link in the description of this stream and all of the videos and streams on the channel. Evergreen invite. Anybody, it's free to join. Members will get a little bit more access to me on a regular basis. Again, another perk of being a member of the channel. But my availability next week after Tuesday is going to be a little sporadic, but I will try to be available as I can be. And you can hit me in Discord, of course, at any point leading up to kickoff if we need any last minute thoughts. I think that covers the morning. I think that covers Sunday morning. One final time. Sunday morning streams moving forward. The chat will be limited to members. Anybody is free to watch. But if you want access to the Sunday morning streams, 99 cents a month will get you access not only to the rest of the Sunday morning streams for the rest of the season, but also priority responses to any questions or comments in any stream over the course of any week for the rest of the year. And you can cancel at any time if you're not if you're not enjoying it or if you're not feeling it. But I think that'll do it for me today. Best of luck in your Week 11 matchups. Let's get these wins. Obviously, with the playoffs fast approaching, we either need to cement our spot or stay alive, whatever your situation is. I hope it goes in your favor, and I hope you get the results that you need today to either lock in your playoff positioning or stay in the race, whatever the case may be. That'll do it for me. I will see you guys on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Week 12 waiver wire help. And, of course, as always, General AMA. Thanks, everybody. Best of luck. Hit me in Discord if you need any last-minute thoughts.